So there was somewhat of a last-minute switch to this game. I was originally going to play through Cryo Interactive's Jekyll and Hyde, which is a spooky adventure game from 2001. Here's how that went. Something's definitely going to kill us out there, so...
No, we're fine. This is the intro. Oh my god! What the fuck? Wow!
I'm glad that there's a tutorial that tells me how to play the game.
That's my favorite part.
Do you have any idea about what happened?
Bunwell put a stimulant in.
A
I don't know how he got hold of it, but...
What?
Did that even work? No, it didn't.
That didn't work. Cool. It's awesome that it doesn't snap you into place.
Yeah, it's great.
It's very lovely.
Where'd she come from?
She popped. It's fine.
Okay, what?
Oh!
What?
And that was fall damage. Awesome.
Why did it knock me off?
What? Well...
What?
That's nice.
I was supposed to do that last time?
Oh, no. Still... Ah!
What? What? Can I skip this cutscene? I don't like this. This might not be worth it. That was hands down one of the worst games I've ever played. So I was in a phone call with my friend Gelrat needing a game to play when he suggested We Were Here. We Were Here is a co-op escape room type game with in-game voice chat. You and a friend have to work together to solve dangerous puzzles while communicating through walkie-talkies, which is still one of the most stupidly beautiful names for a device that I have ever heard. Because when you use them, you walkie while you talkie. The game was created by Total Mayhem Games, originally as part of a student project. It originally released in 2017 and was entered into the Independent Games Festival in 2018, where it won an award. Its popularity warranted the game's turn towards a series, with the developers creating 3 sequels. I believe the best way to talk about this game is to hop right in, so let's get to it. We begin our journey by watching a group of Antarctic explorers. 2 find an old castle and decide to enter, but are quickly knocked out by a mysterious figure. You and your friend can choose between the roles librarian and explorer. The librarian stays in one central hub area with extra rooms that open around it, while the explorer is progressing in a more linear fashion by going from room to room to get from point A to point B. The devs didn't put a room name filter in place, so there were some really vulgar names before we even started things up. Great start. Right off the bat, we had our first issue where our microphones weren't working with the voice chat. It was easily fixed by just joining through a Steam invite instead of through the built-in lobby system, but this issue is shockingly common. Now that our radios are working, let's talk about how cool that system is. They're just like real radios, so you can't talk at the same time. We had to combat this by saying over at the end of every communication. Unfortunately, we are bumbling morons, so this was a lot harder to remember than you would probably expect. Whether that be through saying Roger instead of over, saying over and then immediately realizing you have more to say, or even just forgetting to say over at the end of your message. I love this mechanic because it adds an extra layer of immersion. You have to be careful not to speak over each other. The only time it ever became a little bit frustrating was if both my friend and I started talking at the same time, because we have no way of knowing that this is happening. It would have been cool if the light on the radio lit up only when your friend was talking so you would know and could let them speak instead. The first puzzle is incredibly weak. There was half of a sentence in each of the rooms we were in. When combined, we get the sentence, "The answer lies between the eyes." Gel had 2 pillars with glowing eyes and an assortment of rooms on the wall tiles in between that he could push in. I had a poster on the wall with 18 symbols in the middle and an assortment of eye colors on the outside. Since Gel had 2 eyes on the pillars, I was supposed to find the row with those 2 eye colors and then read the symbols in between them for him. This isn't a good start. This game is only possible because you have to describe your environment to your partner, so they should have eased you in with some more simple things to describe. This puzzle requires you to try and describe detailed drawings of runes to each other, which is immediately overwhelming and not all that fun. Hopefully it gets a little bit better.
Alright, so, to break the news, there's a lot more fucking runes here. God damn, holy shit. Over.
Heck. Thankfully, this one isn't as bad. I had an assortment of chimera paintings with runes underneath, and Gel had just 1. All we had to do was locate the matching painting, then I had to try and describe the runes underneath so Gel could grab tiles from his end and move them in the correct order. It's a circle with a plus inside of it, and then it just goes down from there, like down, and then to the right, and it ends in a little bit of a curl. It's all smooth, there's no angles for that. And then also, there's just, imagine a U.
All right. So try to describe that rune again, but in stupider terms that Kyle would understand.
Table with hook in table, and at the end of the hook, not the pointy end, but the blunt end, is a circle with a plus. Over.
Oh, you're talking about the J. I think like the J with the circle above it. Oh, wait, maybe they're rotated for you.
No, Jell, they are not rotated. I'm just absolutely terrible at describing things. Still not a very good puzzle, but better than before. After finishing up, Jell's room began to flood. This one was pretty quick, so I'll just show you how we did it.
Ben, the room's filling up with water. Over.
What? Tell me what, just describe what you see. Over.
Okay, so there's a room at the very bottom stairway that says green. That's yellow. It's glowing yellow orangey, but it says green. I see a bunch of pipes around. There's some vases, like you like to say. There's boxes, but they're not in, like, I think this is just decoration. But the things that stand out the most is the pipes and the green orange. Over.
That is, oh my god, I don't see anything like that yet. I just found out that another door opened. I'm seeing statues around here. They're like all suits of armor. They don't have weapons or anything, but there are drains in here. There's a very large staircase going down 4 levels. And, oh, okay, there is water at the bottom, and I see 3 pipes with wheels that I can turn. One is blue, one is red, and one is yellow. Over.
Oh god! Turn the yellow one, because the sign said green. Over.
It has been turned over.
Nothing's happened. Oh,
I just did the blue and yellow one over, because it makes green.
Oh!
This was a major step up from the other ones. The time limit put us under pressure, so we had to work quickly, and the mixing of primary colors was a fun yet relatively easy early game puzzle. Now, I want to talk about the radios for a moment. I already mentioned how easy it is to talk over each other, so whenever something weird happened, we just thought we hit the button at the same time. This isn't the case, however. The radios are just broken. At the very start of the next puzzle, Jell fully started talking, but it never transmitted any audio. So I started talking instead, and it caused a ton of confusion. We thought we just started talking at the same time on accident, but after reviewing the footage, that isn't the case at all. I don't know why it was freaking out like this, but since the radios are our main form of communication, this is not a good mechanic to leave in a buggy state. You're probably wondering why the title of this video is Co-op Done Right when I've mainly been critiquing the game thus far, and there's a reason for that. Literally, I can just be kind of picky about puzzles, but that doesn't make these ones bad, even if they have flaws. This game is super easy to just pick up. It has a simple but charming cartoon art style, and getting to solve puzzles with friends is incredibly fun. The creators made an experience that, while buggy, is still enjoyable. We already looked at one timed puzzle, and there are more to come. I think those timed ones add a good amount of tension, and it certainly kept me interested while Jell and I tried to keep each other alive. I'll continue to bring up puzzle flaws, but keep in mind that overall, most of them aren't bad in the slightest. The next puzzle is really interesting. I have a map on the table that matches the room that Jell has entered. When I flick a white lever on the wall, it makes the map start to glow, revealing symbols represented through gates and switches. I had to try and direct Jell through the maze of halls, telling him what switches to hit to open gates and progress to the next area. I definitely had a tougher time with this one because the images are stagnant. When the switches are flicked to open gates, the image is not updated, so I need to memorize what had been done. The only real issue I had from a design standpoint was that the white lever is on a timer. When I hit it, the lights only stayed on for a certain amount of time before I had to go and turn it off and then back on again. When I first hit the lever, I looked around elsewhere for other clues. I took long enough that the lights turned back off, and I had no clue that that white lever had even done anything. But now that that is done, we have unfortunately arrived at my least favorite puzzle. It's cool in theory, but the tedium just ruins it for me. Jell is in a courtyard with a chess set. I have to watch a video of chess moves and relay those moves to Jell. He then has to make all the same moves as in the video I have in order to escape. Unfortunately, every time I want to watch that video to relay the moves, I have to entirely restart it and watch it from beginning to end. Combine that with a time limit and visual obfuscation caused by Jell freezing to death, and we have a nightmare ahead of us. Tension was a little bit high.
anything even more! Over!
Jell didn't know chess piece names or anything, so we had to try and use the grid system to pull it off. I couldn't see his screen during the game, but now that I'm looking back at the recording, I have a question. How did you do this? I know you're watching. How the heck did you see through this? It took a couple of tries and many deaths, but we managed to get through it, and thankfully there was a checkpoint. Speaking of which, let's talk about checkpoints for a bit. They don't save your individual progress, they have pre-created saves. This isn't usually a big deal, but it did create a moment of panic when my film reel disappeared and moved back to its starting position. Next was a pretty simple puzzle. Jell had a book with symbols on it, and I had like 6 of the same thing just scattered about the room. He tried describing the symbols so that we could match our books up.
Okay, so the first symbol is like a flower that has like maybe like little cat ears, or it's like a happy fox, I don't know. Then the second one is a penis that has a little stick coming out of its urethra. Then I see the J table, where it's the table with the J and the circle plus. Then there is like diamond like Hanukkah candles. Then I see like the Frederator channel like robot, which is like a big eye or a boat. I don't know. Over.
I am beyond pissed at the developers. They all look exactly the same. Like, those descriptions match every single book, but the symbols look slightly different. The symbols that were described were all very similar looking, so we had to narrow down their small differences. When we finally found the correct book, the back had directions for Jell to follow so he wouldn't die while walking on trapped tiles. We got into a groove and got him to the other side, leading us to opposing sides of a theater. He was backstage and I was next to the seats. It's time to put on a play. I had a gramophone that played the narrator describing a scene. I was the only one that could hear it, so I needed to describe it to Jell, and he had to use the cranks behind stage to try and get the correct cardboard cutouts out there. Right after we completed step 1, something appeared. Oh my god, that's a monster. I think it's just part of the play, but Jesus Christ, I just looked over and something was floating from the ceiling and had glowy eyes. I'm gonna go check it out. Over.
That's not part of the show, Ben. Over.
The closer that I get, I get like tunnel vision, basically. It is suspended from the ceiling by a cable, though, which is very odd. Over.
It's the marionette, Ben. Over.
If I walk over to it, will I die? Over.
I honestly don't remember. I just remember the spooky guy. Over.
I'm gonna go give him a big wet kiss. Over.
Don't die. Over. Well, I guess kissing him doesn't work, does it?
Okay, that's the marionette, and it is very deadly. It's also getting closer by the second. It took some scrambling, but we managed to tell the story of a very bloodthirsty king before the trapdoor opened. This trapdoor is terribly designed. It doesn't go to anywhere, it's just a small hole in the ground that you can't jump into. Even Jekyll and Hyde got that right half the time. We ended up just having to use the E key on it, but there was no prompt, so we ended up dying and having to restart all over. This brings me to one other issue. This specific checkpoint doesn't save in the theater, it saves before the trapped tile room. We had to redo everything up to that point, which was just an absolute pain. Finally, we finished the theater puzzle and managed to escape that marionette. We meet in the same room, where voice chat still only works with the radios despite us literally being right next to each other. All that remains is a single pressure plate that holds the gate open, but there isn't another one on the other side. One of us has to stay behind. I'll stand on this, you go to the other side. Over.
What do you mean?
This is a platform to keep that gate open. Over.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, but then you're gonna be stuck!
Is there nothing else? Over?
No. You go, buddy. Don't worry about it. You got more knowledge. I'm the explorer. You could probably cure cancer or some shit. Go.
Over.
I got some cool paintings to keep me company.
Worst friend forever. The achievement. Was there another way? Are there multiple endings?
No.
I honestly wanted to stay as the sacrifice, but Jell played as both characters years ago when he first got the game, so I became a traitor and left. The ending is just okay, nothing too crazy, just kind of a singular image. So that was We Were Here. Pretty cool game overall. It had a mix of enjoyable and just okay puzzles with only one frustrating outlier. The achievements were bugged, so I kept getting them for perfectly completing levels and for not dying once, even though we definitely died multiple times and absolutely did not do the puzzles perfectly. I still absolutely love the concept of the radio for communication, and Jell tells me that in later games it has an even more integral role, which is awesome to hear. For a free game, this was a really solid experience. It took us about an hour and a half to do everything, excluding the time the game crashed and made us reset. I am really looking forward to playing the rest of the series, so let me know if you have any interest in me covering it on this channel. Big thanks to Jellrat for putting up with my stupidity during these escapes and for showing me the game in the first place. He completely saved this week's upload. His Twitch is linked below if you have any interest. His streams are incredible, I love them, I tune into literally every single one. He is a hilarious, awesome person. Watch his stuff. He's also been a major pillar of support, so this channel would not be here if it were not for him. Also, just letting you know, for me, it is the end of the college semester, so I'm going to be putting my focus into exams a little bit more. That means there won't be as much content for a little bit, but I will be back into the swing of things as soon as summer hits. I hope to see you all again, and have a great rest of your day.